This is the continued adventure in Venice. This video carries on from where my cheap flight adventure left off. So let's continue exploring Venice and see what it is to find. And let's start this video off in Venice, Mainland, and along to Hotel Vienzia. This hotel is very nice and it's got this really old vintage lift. Sadly it was modernised, but it was still very interesting. The annoying thing is, this lift shaft is glass. It looks really nice, but a lift is not glass. So let's surf this lift. I really love surfing lifts in old lift shafts. On top of the lift, it's got an Otis inspection control, even though the logic for this lift is actually generic logic. Let's surf it. And let's do a leg dangle in the lift shaft. There's also a second lift in this hotel, which is an original Eco Disc. Sounds like an MX-20 Air one, that. No pre-door. So then I now get on a bus along from the mainland to Venice Island. This is a really nice bus ride across the causeway to the island. You can see this bus is running along where the tram bus runs, but the regular buses are much faster and run a much better service than the tram bus. So then I'm back in the tourist district of Venice, and in Venice there's some very aggressive seagulls. They snatch food from your hand and they gobble it down very quick. These gulls are actually different to the ones you get in England, because in England you get herring gulls which have grey wings and pink feet, and blackback gulls which have black wings and yellow feet. The gulls you're seeing here have got grey wings and yellow feet, so it's a different species, and they seem to be very aggressive and they seem to gobble food down much quicker than gulls in England. So continuing to take a look around Venice, I along to the car park near the cruise ship terminal, but the lifts are stupid Gen 2s, which is shit. And here is a base model cone Eco Disc lift near the cruise terminal. And now along to the lifts at a car park by the main bus station in Venice. Notice these lifts have got generic indicators on the outside, except these actually code NMX11 lifts with LCE logic. How on earth does code LCE interface with these shitty generic indicators? That's a combination I never thought you'd see. There must be some bodginess going on. This interior doesn't match the exterior.
In discesa, going down.
This interior doesn't match the exterior. What the fuck? How? That's so strange.
Piano terra, ground floor.
This is so strange. Look, on the outside, how on earth did Cone get that generic stuff? How did Cone get generic stuff to work with LCE? I don't understand how that's compatible.
Quinto piano, 5th floor.
And now we go along to a ferry. Now I've shown loads of different boats in Venice over my videos here, but there is another boat in Venice, which is the large car ferry, which is the only boat in Venice to have a lift. Now I call this ferry the bypass ferry because in the centre of Venice, cars are not allowed. So what this ferry does is it makes a car link between the Venice mainland, which is north of Venice, and the Venice Lido, which is south of Venice. So it pretty much bypasses the central part of Venice, taking you direct from north to south. Let's ride the lift. It's actually quite a nice ride because it takes you right through the tourist districts of Venice without stopping to pick up tourists, which makes a nice change to the other boats. Now night time, and here is what the tourist area of Venice looks like at night. Apparently this is the central square which all of the tourists come to visit. I don't know why tourists want to visit this, there's nothing special about this square, but hey, tourists are weird. So we now go across to the Venice mainland, which is where we're staying. Obviously we didn't sleep in the tourist districts of Venice because that would be too overpriced. Over on the mainland there is a nice fountain which has been lit in Ukraine colours to support Ukraine, which is very nice. So let's now go to a place where we were staying. Now I've stayed in a lot of places abroad. I'm usually fairly good at choosing a good place, but this time I failed. Usually what I do is I go on booking.com, sort by cheapest, then I don't normally go to the very cheapest place. I usually go down a couple of places in the listing to find one with a good user rating. In Venice, the problem is everything's so overpriced. There wasn't anywhere with a good user rating. I thought I found one with a reasonable rating, but it turned out a place was actually shit, which is very frustrating to be honest. Let's take a look around this very shit accommodation. Now what you don't see on camera is how dirty and covered in dust this place is, because it's quite hard to show it on camera. Here's the shared kitchen area, which is very cluttered. Looks like it hasn't been maintained at all. This kitchen area did not get cleaned throughout the entire 5 days we were staying here. The work surfaces were grubby and I would not want to cook any food here, and the microwave was filthy dirty. So now go across to the shared bathroom. This bathroom smelt weird. It wasn't very clean, but no one cleaned it throughout the entire time we stayed here. And we couldn't use the shower as it was broken. And into the room where we were staying. The floor felt so gritty we had to wear shoes at all times while staying here. One of the 2 beds was broke and sagged in the middle. The place just didn't seem that clean at all. And it's now morning, and if we take a look at the German style shutter that goes across the window, this was also broken. So then, let's now go and explore some shopping centres in the mainland. The mainland in Venice is the only part of Venice that actually has proper shopping centres, because in the tourist areas, literally it's just tourist crap. So this here is the first of the main shopping centres I went to. This has got Otis Gen 2 lifts, but these lifts were glass, and these Gen 2s actually didn't seem as bad as a normal Gen 2.
Long level.
And now along some more lifts. This shopping centre also had a very weird lift. This lift is a 6-to-1. Like 6-to-1, that is massive. On a side chassis. The lift doesn't even have a full chassis, just a side chassis. And it's 6-to-1, like it's a super heavy goods lift. I've never seen anything like this in the years I've been looking at lifts. Sadly, I was not able to ride it because it wasn't working.
Door closed for a call button. Have you ever seen anything like this? This lift here is on a 6-to-1 on the side chassis, so no chassis on top, big size chassis at the side, 6-to-1 cabling, and on counterweight 6-to-1 cabling. What the fuck is this lift? And then the motor, all out there and the motor's there, like an MRL, 6-to-1 side chassis.
And now we go along to this weird sort of university or conference centre thingy. I'm not quite sure what this building is. This is what it looks like on the inside. It looks very nice, but the main lifts here looked very crap. These look like the really crap sort of generic lifts. But surprisingly, on top, these lifts are actually a lot better than what a lift may appear from looking at the inside of it.
Oh, this is crap. Why are so many lifts in this city so crap?
So on top of this lift, despite how shit the lift looks on the inside, Cartop's got a reasonable chassis and this lift's got full speed inspection!
Let's go down. Right. That chassis is better than I thought. It looks so bad inside. That chassis is quite reasonable. Cone? Actually, that is a cone roller, but fucking hell, it's not cone. Actually, that chassis looks like a cone.
Now I go to the other lifts here. These ones, as well as looking cheap, are in fact very cheap.
Venice, why can't you have better lifts? Oh, the other one's actually better because for these really slow cheap lifts without VF drive, it's actually slightly better than with VF drive, surprisingly. So slightly more responsive without a VF drive. Cheap VF drives are so painfully slow. 5th floor. What's happening to the tracks there? How you do it? Got a deck. That's the same, isn't it? Same train. Literally, you could put your feet there and hold on that, but I don't think you could. With your handle there at the side, but where do you put your feet? I'm not sure I trust the cow catcher because that looks like it moves. The big sort of buffer things on it. It's not really any high. I've made it too smooth. Shame, because I'd love to do this one. You literally do the side of that. Like this. Like that's beyond the risk I'm willing to take on the side. Because you don't know how close the objects will pass, but I think they're going to be quite far. Oh, it's so annoying. I really want to do this, but not enough places to hold on. I know a lot of people just do the side, but I'm not prepared to do that because you don't know how close the objects will pass. There's a lot of people that just do stuff without thinking about it properly. Now, as much as I'd love to do the side, unless I absolutely know exactly route to the next station, there's going to be nothing close. I can't risk it.
And now go along to the airport. This here is the water taxi station at the airport. It's weird seeing a boat station this big. This really shows that the boat is the main public transport between the airport and Venice. Although boats are very expensive, both the water taxis and the water buses are very expensive if you go to the airport. If you come to Venice and want to get into the city the cheapest way, the best thing to do is to take the regular bus, but don't take it from the airport. Walk on foot just one bus stop outside of the airport and pick up the bus there because you get it a lot cheaper. So then let's now explore the airport. The lifts here are Schindler 5500s.
It's a lift, not an elevator.
Closing. Piano 3, floor 3. La porta si apre.
Let's film our way down because 5500s always sound better in a down direction.
La porta si chiude. Closing. Piano 1, floor 1. La porta si apre. Door open.
DMG has invaded the Schindler D series. How dare you, DMG?
Primo piano, first floor. Porta in apertura. Door open.
D series. Rare voice. Oh, this is a classic, this one.
Piano, ground floor.
Oh no, not quite.
Ground floor.
Got my Chronic A
Porta in apertura.
2-speed version. Oh, the D series definitely used the cheaper ones in D series from M series.